So when you talk about running an analytics practice as a business, what do you mean? Like, what are some of the key aspects to doing that?
So I'll start by taking a step back where I first got this idea, because I think, this is definitely not my idea. It's something that I've worked on refining, but the initial seed for this was planted by my boss, Paul Bartholomew, who was my boss at one point in time, my first job out of college. And I may have even referenced this on a previous podcast. I know I've talked about it a bit on LinkedIn, but I worked internally for an organization in the IT team. We built software that supported our sales and marketing teams that were out in the field. I think I clearly remember the day we were complaining because our internet speed was incredibly low. It was like brutally slow. And I can't remember, one of the team members went to Paul and was just like, dude, like, we cannot work like this. And he's like, yeah, I had the network throttled down. And we're like, what? And we're like, we're trying to do a job here. He's like, but you have customers out in the field that this is the network bandwidth that they have. And I want you to feel like what it feels like for them when they're using our software, because they're our customers. And if we think that they're just going to use our software because they have no other choice because we're an internal team, we're all going to fail. We have to think of our internal customers as customers that have a choice. And, this is just one little thing I want you to feel right now so you can better get a sense of who our customers are, empathize with their office setups that aren't quite, where our office setup is, because they do have a choice. And that moment really, really stuck with me. And he kind of further went on to talk about the importance of running an IT team like a business, that our customers have a choice, because so many IT organizations are run the exact opposite. We're not a business, we're an internal organization. You have no choice but to do what we say. Have you ever interacted with an IT team to get credentials for like single sign-on or VPN access? It is brutal, right?
It's up there with the DMV.
If people had any other choice, we would not deal with them. But they don't have to think about the experience, because they have to use our services. They have no other choice. And Paul
just like the DMV.
Yeah, and Paul said, I don't buy into that. And in fact, it's true for so many organizations, they do have a choice. And we've seen this in analytics. We've seen that analytics teams operate like internal IT teams, say you have no other choice but to use our services because we're internal. And you know what happens? People go out and install their own Google Analytics implementation, or they get an implementation of Content Square or some other, they do it themselves, right? Because it's like they're getting a bad product and a bad experience, and they do have a choice. Whether it's the right choice or not for the organization, they're going to make their choice. And so the message that Paul delivered was, look, we have to run like a business. And that means we have to market to our customers. It means we have to sell to them. It means we have to be concerned about customer satisfaction. It means we have to think about renewability and being able to expand with our customers. And it was just such a life-changing moment for Paul to deliver that message and have it so tangible with like throttling down our network speed to kind of feel that. I'll never forget that moment. And when I left Omniture to take the analytics manager role at Spark Networks, it's one of the things I did very, very early on. I made friends with one of the graphic designers. I had him create a logo for our internal practice. I set up a newsletter campaign where I asked people to sign up for the newsletter, where I can provide them tips and tricks. And I did all sorts of things to sell the brand of analytics within Spark Networks, knowing that everyone in that company had a choice to whether to use the services that my team was providing or not. And it wasn't perfect, but I think it made such a fundamental difference in how we operated, that we looked at everyone that consumed data from that practice as having a choice. And we wanted them to choose us because we felt that we would provide the best data and the best experience for those customers. And it's such an incredible way, I think, to view running not just an analytics practice, any kind of internal practice where your customers are internal-facing employees.